Everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoterica, and we have another episode on the Atomiswave to Dreamcast ports that have been coming out in November of 2020, and today we're taking a look at Neo Geo Battle Coliseum. And I will say at the start of this video, I do not like this game. I have never liked this game, but I do want to cover it to give a little emphasis and credit for the porting process. But before we get too far involved, you could do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined, you can go down there, we have a Patreon link as well if you want to support the channel. When Neo Geo Battle Coliseum was announced, I was extremely excited for it. How could you not want another SNK fighting game? But this game kind of let me down like SNK vs. Capcom Chaos did on the AES, which is to say, it's still a fun game, but I just don't like it. And here's the primary reason I don't really enjoy this game that much. This is the first stage. It is on normal difficulty. I've been playing King of Fighters my entire life, and I can get through 94 through 2003 on 1 credit on normal difficulty. And I am going to get my butt handed to me by Marco here in the first match. This game just feels terribly unbalanced. You can basically get stun locked, you can be kept away from your opponent. No matter how I try to close the distance between me and Marco here, it's just not working for me. And when I first purchased this game on GameCube, I was so excited to play it. I went out and bought it day one, and I brought it home, and I played it, and I was extremely disappointed, and that feeling really hasn't changed that much for me. Mechanically, it's also a very strange game in the way that it's presented. This isn't a traditional fighting game, even though obviously you're fighting an opponent. How it works is you have rounds, and you need to defeat your opponent. And then the next set of opponents are going to come in on the same stage, which basically means that you're going to be looking at the same background for more than you would actually like to be. And you'll see there, first round, default difficulty, I just completely got destroyed, and that is not something that usually happens to me. I'm not the best fighting game player in the world. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that could totally beat me handily, but I can hold my own in most 2D fighting games. But Neo Geo Battle Coliseum just drives me nuts. Now on the upside, to say some nice things about the game, I mean I always love an SNK fighting game even if I don't like it, the backgrounds are really fun. You have that pre-rendered kid there wearing the headphones, you have some 2D sprite work going on, and all the sprites have that classic SNK look to them. Even if you see here on the right, that sprite is a little bit pixelated just based on the size of what you're looking at. But it is still, I mean, it's fun, and if you have 2 players, it becomes a lot better. My biggest issue here, just playing it for capture and having played it back when it came out and not having anybody there to play for a while, is that the CPU just seems extremely predictive. It wants to keep you away from it, and it's going to juggle you back and forth, and it just never feels balanced. And I think the issue is, it isn't balanced. Some of the characters are completely overpowered, and others just don't really have a very strong or effective moveset. And you can end up picking a combination where you just aren't going to do very well. Then we have Mudman here, who's definitely an ancillary character, and I'm way better at playing him than I have some of the traditional SNK fighters. But you'll see now that we won that first round, we're going into the next round, and I use air quotes for that, and we're on the same background. I like seeing different backgrounds in fighting games. After I've beaten an opponent, I want to see new artwork. I want to have a new bit of soundtrack. This game's going to make you dwell in the background and the soundtrack the whole time. Even the special moves, while fun to look at, definitely aren't the best SNK has ever put up. And this was just made in an era where SNK seemed to be struggling a little bit. They were definitely past their heyday with the Neo Geo AES and MVS. But it is still a fun game. But if we talk about it from the perspective of this now running on the Dreamcast, that's awesome. And it's interesting that MegaVolt 85, the guy that's been doing all these, decided to do 4 fighting games to start. Actually 3. Metal Slug 6 not a fighting game, I got my numbers wrong there. Clearly he likes those, but what I hope to see soon is some of the other genres of Atomiswave games coming up. I've done some videos on a few in the past, like Demolish Fists, but there's some arcade driving games and other things that I really love to see on the platform. What I'll let you do is watch this match. The soundtrack's not bad, I do like this background, and I'll be back in about a minute and I'll talk a little bit more about Neo Geo Battle Coliseum and I'll try to weigh my positives and negatives. But enjoy this and I'll be right back. I have lost again. And that's my biggest issue with the game, is that I'm just not good at it. And maybe I'm just not good at it because I could get better. Who knows? But it's not the type of game that I want to spend time dedicating to getting better at. I really appreciate you get things like the Mars people from Metal Slug, and it's definitely reusing a lot of assets and sprite work from SNK versus Capcom Chaos. And it's interesting that that game did the same thing to me that Neo Geo Battle Coliseum did, which was I was super excited to play it, and then when I actually purchased it, I really didn't love it that much. Now, that's not to say that these aren't fun games, and like I said, if you have a second player, you can have a lot more fun playing this than against the computer. But generally, 9 out of 10 times, you're not going to have friends just hanging out unless you only play fighting games when they're around. So it's really unfortunate to have a game where playing against the CPU just is a struggle. Most of my attacks are blocked, it feels very predictive, things like that. And while the backgrounds are fun, they're pretty static. I mean, you have this really interesting T-Rex skull in the background clearly battling a robot, but it's not moving, it's not animated, and that's where I think this game just feels a little bit rushed, like SNK didn't have the budget or the time to be able to do what they wanted to do with it, because SNK usually doesn't give us these sort of static backgrounds, and most of the backgrounds are very similar to it. This one also just doesn't have much depth in it. You just have a little bit of rock formation in the background, but other than that, just not a whole lot going on. And I guess that's just what I feel about this game. Definitely check it out. You know, it works on the optical disc emulator, or GDEMU, for your Dreamcast, or it'll work in the Demule, however you pronounce it, emulator as well. So you don't really have to put much money into checking the game out, which is nice. Maybe you'll find something that I don't. But if you played this game before, if you enjoy it, if you don't, leave me a comment below, because I would love to hear what you guys think. I don't like talking into an echo chamber, so if you have a different opinion about this, please do leave it below. I'd love to chat with you guys. But as far as a porting perspective, and I use the word port even though the Atomiswave and the Dreamcast are very identical, it is still extremely impressive that we're getting all these games in 2020. I said it in the last video and I'll say it again. I'm more excited about the 2020 Dreamcast lineup than I am about the lineup of the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. I want to play these games more than I want to play those games. And of course, that's just because I'm a retro gamer and I have nostalgia for them, but honestly, this is just more exciting to me. But short of that, the next time there's another Atomiswave to Dreamcast port comes up, I will do another video. You guys seem to love watching them, and I love making them for you. And if you could do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, ring that notification bell. We definitely appreciate your guys' support. And like I said, questions, comments, leave them below, and I'll chat with you guys next time. Short of that, I'll have a video on Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday, and the next time we get a port, I'll do another one. Bye-bye.